But I want to say one thing to the American people.
See, I'm not a political YouTuber by any means. I might throw in the occasional political joke and sometimes my own views leak into my own writing, but for the most part I tend to focus on fun-ish topics that I find interesting. You see the title of this video, right? We're getting a little political. Zohran Mamdami, the current mayor of New York as of 2026, had a rap career in the late 2010s. Given the reputation Zohran has with some people as being basically Muslim Stalin,
it's been 4 years since Zohran's laptop instituted Sharia law here in New York. I remember it like it was yesterday.
My first thought after finding this information out has me wondering, does he sound like a millennial immortal technique? Is he a PR-safe diet version of Dead Prez? With him being from New York, it kinda makes sense he's somewhat tapped into rap. When looking more into Mamdami's taste, he got a solid but PR-friendly top 3.
Nas, Lupe Fiasco, Common, Jay-Z.
You have to.
And I think as New York City, we have to put in Biggie.
I mean, come on.
A slightly spicier list from 2017, and he got backing from the Wu-Tang Clan. I gotta say, it's a lot better than what Kamala was able to drum up. Not that Trump's lineup was that good either.
Ryan Garcia is I'm on the nitrous.
However, the most important thing to remember is that
Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
Do you know who isn't for the children?
Puffy is good.
So I don't really doubt his taste in hip-hop or whatever credibility he has there. But what gems does Mr. Cardamom have in his discography? As it turns out, not that much from what I could find. His career only spans from 2016 to 2019. Mamdami, initially going under the name Young Cardamom, made his first appearance on a track with his longtime friend Hejai. That song is
Kinda Chap Chap,
which means he started his rap career at the tender age of 25. And not even most underground rappers can hit that age. Anyway, to my dismay, the song does not sound like millennial immortal technique. Instead, their first song is a pop rap song about baking bread, specifically chapati, which is native to India and East Africa. The song is partially performed in English, with most of it being in what I assume are the native languages they both speak. From what I could find, they speak these languages here, which are native to different regions of Africa. This song just screams mid-2010s rap, mostly due in part to the bootleg DJ Mustard-esque beat. For the time, this was probably an alright song that otherwise would have flown under the radar if it weren't made by the future mayor of New York. As you can see, I'm not super fond of this era or sound. Unfortunately, Mr. Mamdami really likes this style of music. I find it kinda ironic that the dude from Africa who represents New York is really into the West Coast sound. The pessimist in me says this is a dated nothing burger of a song. But hey, the song is purposely pretty goofy, so I won't punch down on them. 2016 was a stacked year for rap. You had Kanye with The Life of Pablo, Travis with Birds in the Trap, Savage Mode with Metro in 21, and Chance the Rapper's Coloring Book. Oh yeah, and Kendrick Lamar's B-sides. It's no wonder the joke song about bread didn't make any waves in 2016. Cardamom and Hejai's next big effort would be channeled into their debut EP,
Sedemu Kialo.
The title translates to Never Going Back to the Village, which is a Ugandan saying referring to those who work hard to leave their village for a better life. The album also apparently covers other topics like racism and political corruption in Uganda. That being said, I'll state this time and time again, I'm a music producer at heart. I'm not great at dissecting lyrics, but I'm confident in my own tastes and how an end product turns out. I want to look into the lyrics more, but I don't feel like learning Swahili, nor do I know anyone who speaks Swahili. Like, no one on Genius bothered to transcribe these lyrics, so I can only really comment on production and how well the vocals mesh with it. So, what's the verdict on the album? It's not as bad as you think it is. It's a more traditional boom bap inspired song with Cardamom coming in with a melodic hook. Hejai's rapping here is a bit stilted, like he isn't super comfortable in this style. However, Mamdami fares a lot better, mixing different flows with his singing. Combines African and electronic sounds to make a more danceable and upbeat song. For some reason, the music video has Mamdami as an African warlord and Hejai as a karate master.
Everybody knew God knows Kung Fu.
The sound effect mixing for the video is a little bit weird too. While I was writing this, I got jump scared by this loud gunshot noise. Otherwise, it's a decent song. Has the sole feature on the album from who I assume is on the hook. This seems to be the political cut of the album because I hear excerpts of them talking about immigration, I think. This is the concept to the song according to an interview if you're curious. If I knew where these lines were, I would probably like this more, but to me it just sounds like an okay song. The beat on PSV starts to lean into sounding like DJ Mustard, but thankfully it doesn't all the way. It's just a normal pop-ish rap song. Okay, so what's the next track? Fuck. But hey, he mentioned colonialism, so it must slap. The song's name translates to security guard, and is about the lasting effects of said colonialism in Uganda. The last track kinda sounds like African 21 Pilots. Make of that what you will. So with my limited understanding of this album, I know how I rate it is kinda compromised because I can't understand half of it. But I give it this rating based on what I can understand. Even if I could make sense of the lyrics, I think sound-wise this album aged like milk. This publication referred to the duo as outsider artists, which is a big stretch to say now. The fact that they cover these topics is admirable, as it warrants discussion. However, I think people tend to conflate meaningful messaging with good music. The execution also has to sound good. I'll admit again, I don't understand half of the lyrics, but the sound and execution of the songs kinda leave a lot to be desired in my opinion. I didn't go into this with many expectations, but I can't say I was impressed or disappointed. I'm whelmed. I got what I expected. It's notable enough to mention due to being Mamdami's only complete musical work, but otherwise it's unremarkable. Their next appearance would be from somewhere you wouldn't expect. In the same year, a movie called Queen of Katwe would be released. And wouldn't you know it, the duo appears on the soundtrack. And Mamdami is in the movie. And he co-produced and curated the soundtrack with composer Alex Heffels. Interesting. Now, if this were a random documentary, this segment would be over quickly as another minor footnote in the Mamdami canon. However, this rabbit hole goes a bit deeper than you think. Queen of Katwe is a sports biopic produced by Disney and ESPN, and was directed by award-winning director Mira Nair. She is Mamdami's mother. With all these factors combined, it resulted in the highest amount of notoriety old Karamam got in his short music career. That song is Number One Spice, which sits at 1 million views on YouTube, and goddammit, we're back to songs about food on DJ Mustard beats. Granted, it's not as vapid as Kinda Chop Chop, and it has some interesting beat switches to keep it fresh. It's a decent song, but it feels like it belongs on a movie soundtrack. This isn't a King's Dead situation where the song can stand on its own. Now, some of you may be wondering, is Cardamom here a nepo baby? Is he to be included in the pantheon of supposed industry plants like hyperpop icon Rebecca Black, everyone's favorite ASMR singer Billie Eilish, and Tu Hollis, I guess, and fellow nepo baby Osama? I don't know, and for the scope of this video, it doesn't really matter because his music career didn't go anywhere. Food for thought, I guess. So sometime between 2016 and 2017, Mamdami left Uganda for the long term and began to release music as a solo artist under his own name, Zohran Kawame. And also, this is the last time we'll ever hear of HAB, at least as far as Mamdami musical canon goes. To date, Mamdami has only released 3 songs following this. The first song he would release in 2017 is Salam, which is about... oh no.
That's called motherfucking bars, nigga!
Granted, it's not the only subject that's talked about in the song. However, not the best look for Mamdami, let's be fair. I've read enough to form my own opinion on these facts, and I suggest you do the same. So I guess this is where the Immortal Technique influence comes into play. Oh my god. This is all I'm gonna say about that line. Let's move on. Either way, I can tell you that this song, sound-wise, is fucking dog shit. Oh my god, where to start with this? First, let's address that autotune / vocoder thing he's doing. It seems like he was taking inspiration from fellow New York native Ron Browse for his use of whatever vocal effect this is. This, combined with how grating he raps and sings over the chorus, makes for one of the worst things I've ever heard in a while. If there's any silver lining to it, here, specifically, it's at the very least in key sometimes. Much better than Arab Money Pop Champagne Man. The beat sounds like it was ripped from a sci-fi porno. I don't know how else to describe it.
That sounds like the loading screen to literally having sex for the first time with another man.
Thank you, Zach Fox, aptly put. The content of the verses, sans the HL5 name drop, for the most part is interesting, and the subject matter is still relevant today. I'll give it that. He has a whole interview talking about the song's concepts, but that doesn't exactly save it at all. How the hell did 2 engineers make this bad of an autotune sound? This is 2 out of 10 material, potentially lower. Thank God this was not on his album. Maybe HAB was the counterweight to Mamdami pulling shit like this. So thankfully, his next song, released the same year, is nothing like that. Thank God. We dropped the mustard beats and the Muslim sex beats for something that's more up my alley. Some American-made
boom bap. Have someone come in, spit on it, like, you know, on some...
The song's subject matter is all over the place. He raps about his family, heartbreak, I think, and he comes around full circle talking about food again. I think he and Action Bronson might be good friends. This song is definitely a lyrical, spiritual type of song, but replace the pretentiousness with almost complete nonsense. This song just exists. Mamdami's last song to date is Nani, which he released in 2019. He evolved into his final form as Mr. Cardamom, and it's like he never changed. We got the greatest hits of Mamdami musical tropes. We brought back the African-flavored DJ Mustard beats. We got questionable autotune. And he's talking about his family again. This time he's focusing more on his grandma. The only real deviation he made sound-wise is taking inspiration from fellow aforementioned nepo baby Billie Eilish by whispering half of his verse. It's like he heard that song Gas Pedal and decided not to evolve beyond that.
Gas pedal, gas pedal.
As an actual song meant to be taken seriously, this is just really boring rap. It's for his grandma, so cool. Mamdami was already deep into politics at this point, so I get why he isn't trying his hardest. I'm not expecting a late career The Heart Part 4 out of Zohran Mamdami, however cool that may be. And now we've reached the end of the road. We're probably never gonna see Zohran hop back on the mic anytime soon. Nor do I really want him to. If Zohran wasn't the mayor, he honestly would have slipped into obscurity as a rapper at worst, or he'd be relegated as a footnote on the short list of notable rappers from Uganda. Since that isn't the case, to me his music now is just a cool novelty. But like, what other US politician can you say had a significant career in music? I just wish he could have been the millennial immortal technique I wanted him to be. Thankfully, most of his music is so milquetoast that it can barely be used against him, you know, except for that one song. I won't gas up the dude's music just because of his politics or how seemingly nice he is. But you know what? I'm glad the worst thing I can say about the guy is that he makes boring music. Alright, I'm done talking about this subject, but before we end, I'd like to announce that I've finally opened a Patreon. What I do here is 100% a solo effort, and I split that time with working a full-time job and making music. If you're a returning viewer and want to support the channel or any of my related projects, feel free to leave a tip, and maybe, just maybe, I'll treat you a bit nicer. Okay, I'm outie.
Please give me